Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to read an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is my guy, he's 34 years old, he's been married for a little while now, and he's sharing his story how just recently he is now done. He packed up his suitcase and he walked out right to the divorce attorney's office and is divorcing his wife. After years of incredible disrespect and of course finding out by him setting up surveillance equipment that his wife's a big giant cheater. And that is a very good thing and part of the reason I'm covering the video. The other reason I'm covering this video here, is because our guy also has made a lot of mistakes. And I do these things to entertain, but also to teach. You're going to see in his story here that while his wife, no one will dispute that she's a big giant a-hole and deserves to go down, our guy here hasn't exactly behaved in a manner that wouldn't let me get away with not slapping him. There's going to be a lot of smacks in this story because this guy absolutely is a classic example of a guy who acted like a doormat, and it's no wonder that she treated him in such a way. I'm not saying it's justified and she's an a-hole, but this happens to weak men. And I cannot stress enough, guys, that if you act weak, it's going to turn them off. And some will deliberately do stuff, mean, horrible stuff, because they're so disgusted by it. And I might add also, this story sounds a lot like a gal who married a guy who she was not all in love with, not all attracted to, but purely because he put a ring on her finger, she knew he'd provide, and she could do whatever she wanted. Well, it's so important, gentlemen. Can't stress this enough. Be careful. If you honestly know that you weren't the type of guy the girls are chasing after when you're growing up, teenage years, college, and then finally you get a job, you're making some money, and now they're paying attention to you, and nothing else has changed about you, the odds are greatly they're just looking for a guy to put a ring on their finger and milk for everything it's worth until they can finally get rid of you. Don't be that guy. And they know these guys. Women can pick out a weak guy like that, scanning the room. They know those guys. And that could be your fate if you're not careful, and you'll see this in the story. And they also know these guys won't stand up for themselves. So while our guy here will handle himself well at the end, and that's great, you're going to see what not to do in a marriage. So it starts off, says here, hi SSM. You can call me Frank, I'm 34 years old, and I've learned a lot from your stories, but one notion that really sank in over the past year or so is that girls' night is a very bad idea. Yes, it is a bad idea, and you're going to see, guys, many a girls' night goes on in this story. And if you've been watching me for a little while now and you've learned some things, well, you've got a lot to learn, my man. However, I met my wife Kelly at a liberal arts school, and since she's highly progressive, I knew that convincing her to stop going clubbing and girls' nights with her girls every Saturday night would only end up in unimaginable drama. Smack, smack, smack. In other words, you know it's a bad idea. You don't like that she does that, but you're too much of a pussy to stand up for yourself, and then there you go. Progressive. Why'd you marry her? Given how this whole story goes, why'd you get involved with her? And why are you not standing up for yourself? Because you're afraid she'll get mad at you? Have some balls. I guarantee the guy she's fooling around with would stand up to her. Look, I would not be a friend to you if I don't say these things. You have to learn. And other guys have to learn too. How do I know that? Well, one time I asked her to include me in her Thursday walks with her best friend Tommy, and she told me that I was being toxic and possessive. More on Tommy in a minute. She is a married woman, and she does Thursday walks once a week with her male best friend and has a male best friend. Smack! You're allowing this? Let her call you toxic. Let her call you possessive. Or better yet, why the hell did you stay married to her? Does this sound like a woman that loves her husband here? No. Not even likes you. Anyhow, the girls' nights were becoming disruptive to our relationship since she'd come home drunk and spend the next day hungover in bed. One time she didn't take a shower and had a weird musky smell about her. I can't quite explain it, but I found the scent to be so unsettling that I actually went downstairs to sleep on the couch. Well, it's probably a combination of alcohol, Chatter Tyrone's cologne, and Chatter Tyrone's maybe love juice getting in her hair, her face, or her clothes, or her mouth, or her breath. I don't know, dude. Probably forgot to use her Listerine when she came home. This really wasn't how I imagined marriage. Of course not. And you telling me that she was totally different when you got together with her? I'm a relationship guy and I really value the simple things. So when my wife wastes the only part of the week that we get to spend any quality time together on a bunch of superficial morons in the city, I really start to question my self-worth. Well, any guy would be questioning their self-worth. But this is why you gotta stand up for yourself and draw a line. You be a man or you be a mangina. Act like a bitch, women are gonna treat like a bitch. Add to the fact that I'm not the biggest guy. I have put on pretty bad gut over the past few years, and I will also admit to feeling downright insecure when she's out. Which is ironic, since she's always telling me I'm insecure. Well, that's probably why she married you. Not because she loved you, but so she could push you around. And you said you've grown a gut and all that. Okay, then do something about it. You're 34, not 84. Okay, you can lose weight. You can get your body in shape. But you're probably so depressed all the time about how she's behaving, it's very difficult to find the motivation to eat right, exercise, hit the weights and all that. So that's all I had to say. So that's all to say that girls' night out has had to come to an end. And I realized that I framed it as a way to save money, and my real intentions might slip under the radar. I generally have the upper hand in this area since Kelly leased a very expensive Mercedes that consumes almost her entire paycheck. And so extra entertainment comes out of my end. Did you just say your wife spend literally her whole paycheck, either one paycheck or both her paychecks in a month, go to paying her lease for Mercedes for a car she won't even get to own in the end? Over a freaking car. She's one of those. But of course she is, because she figures, hey, my husband here will pay for the mortgage, everything else, and my fun time. Dude, it's right there. She's using you. Actually, I recently tracked how much of my money she spent at the club, and it was mind-blowing in a bad way. At the same time, I was kind of assured that she had just jacked up the credit card bill, since it meant other men weren't buying her drinks. So I told her I'd give her more money for girls' nights than she currently spends, on the condition that they happen down in the rec room at our house. She agreed surprisingly quickly, but also set a condition, that I had to go to bed early on those nights so the girls could have their privacy. I thought this was a fair request, so I agreed. Smack! You're going to go to bed early in your house? That's your house too. Oh yay, she's not going out to the club, but she's at home and making you go to bed like she's your mommy? Dude, did you not have a father or some male role model growing up to look and see their behavior? I'm going to guess not. Or the behavior you observe from a father or grandfather or uncle, they were probably just as much as pee-whipped too. What the fuck? She's an a-hole, absolutely, and she's a cheater and treats you like shit, and that's terrible. But you're not helping your case. She doesn't respect you, but I wouldn't respect you either. These are things you need to work on, my man. I'm going to cover that in the end. With that in mind, I'm not proud of what I did next, but I want to be honest with you, SSM, and I do take accountability for this. I bought some of those hidden style cameras off Amazon and set them up in the basement. Not so much to watch them, but so that I could hear what was being said. And honestly, I kind of wish I could just unhear the whole thing. Dude, that's a good thing you did that. I think it's great you went there and set up that stuff. It's the first time you acted like a man here, because you can get some evidence of what they're saying or doing, so I'm happy about that. I'm not even sure where to start with what I heard, but let's just say that the female equivalent of locker room talk borders on being psychotic. Yeah, the whole shaming tactic about men in locker room talk that was popular a couple years ago, newsflash. You get a bunch of girls together, they're 10 times worse than a bunch of dudes in the locker room, for heaven's sake. I've heard it, you guys have heard it, trust me. They gossiped about one of their friends who couldn't make it that evening because she wanted to spend time with her husband, and they called her a fat W-H-O-R-E. And the way they said it was when guys are making fun of each other, like it was really vicious and mean. So they're a bunch of mean girls. Big surprise. It doesn't stop at high school or whatever. Then another one of the girls started talking about sleeping with her gym trainer, and though I, Kelly, told her the trainer is gay, it still made me have some deep concern. Well, birds of a feather flock together. Of course, your wife and all her friends are a bunch of cheaters and mean girls and all that. I don't know how you married her, and again, I don't know how you stayed married this long, but let me guess, probably you didn't get a lot of attention from girls growing up, and you thought you finally got it like the romantic comedies told you with her, and you didn't want to mess things up, and I'm sure you're not getting any very much, brother, but you're divorcing her, so hopefully we can change that. Well, let me finish the story here. And then one of the girls asked Kelly, how are things going with Tommy? My wife said, shh. Frank is right upstairs and made this hand gesture like WTF. I was completely destroyed. I mean, when I saw that part of the video, I just lost it and started bawling. Honestly, SSM, I was crying so hysterically that I could barely get through the rest of the recording, and then what came next was maybe even worse. Dude, I got no problem with you crying because your heart's broken and all that. I'm glad it didn't happen in front of her. Don't ever let her see you cry. Don't anybody ever see you cry, or don't let her see you cry, and don't let an enemy see you bleed. If you're going to cry, do it in front of your bros if you got to talk to somebody. It's understandable, fine, but, try to pull it together. One of the girls suggested then playing Truth or Dare. And I was thinking, okay, finally, at least one innocent thing is going to happen. Nope. Bro, are you from another part of the world and don't know what Truth or Dare means in the West? Because in the West means at least some bad shit. Okay? I've played Truth or Dare in high school and college, and let me tell you, it ain't something a parent wants to imagine their kids are doing, or as a married man, your wife should be doing, your girlfriend should be doing. I won't waste your brain cells on all the disgusting questions they were asking each other, but I'll share a few highlights from Kelly's turn. Dude, we like to hear that shit, but okay. First, they asked her who had a bigger package, me or her friend Tommy. And Kelly got all embarrassed and said, Tommy. Big surprise. Huh, but isn't Tommy her best friend? How would she know that? I guess she learns that every Thursday when she goes on her walk with him. In the next round, she took the truth again. And the girl asked her, how much bigger is Tommy than Frank? She said that Tommy is at least 3 times bigger. Really? I mean, okay, here's the thing. Statistically, most guys are like, I don't know, definitely under 6 inches. But I don't know what you are, even if you're small, but that's pretty darn big for being Tommy. Then her final round, my wife took a dare and said that she was done sharing such personal things. The girl dared her to call Tommy on speaker and in a seductive voice asked him to recall his top 3 most memorable acts with her. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you bought the surveillance equipment, even though it was killing you. This is why you should have stood your ground. You said you didn't want to deal with unimaginable drama if you didn't call her out on these things. Well, you're dealing with it anyway. SSM, she did things with him that she swore she would never do with any guy. I mean, they were doing the type of experimental stuff that no amount of Listerine could cleanse. I'm going to say it. Make rules for betas, break rules for alphas. Don't mean to insult you, but you, my friend, in her eyes, and frankly mine, are a beta. But we're hoping we can change that one day. Hope we can. Also, the part about him being above average checks out since she was feeling pretty loose down there ever since she started with the whole Thursday walks. I don't know how I managed to sleep at all that night, but I held my shit together and did not comfort her, or did not confront her. She barely noticed anyway. She was like, what are you crying about now? And I said I was having an unexpected panic attack over work-related stress. Hang on. Did you say that she said, what are you crying about now? As in that's a regular occurrence? Smack! Dude, what the fuck? Be a fucking man. I got no problem you crying about hearing about all the shit she was saying and doing on your own. But you never let him see you cry. Your wife, your girlfriend, in spite of the movies telling you should do that. Clearly she doesn't care. Clearly this happens all the time and has disgusted her. Bro, you need help. I want to help you, but good God. Anyhow, the next morning, I packed a bag and she was sleeping off the previous evening's drinks and I drove directly to a divorce lawyer, and just left the whole house behind for now. Well, good. That's good. The only time I'll ever see her again is in court. Oh, and there is a slight upside to her whole progressive ways. She insisted on a prenup. And so now not only will I not have any alimony, but she'll be kicked out of the house and stuck with that expensive car payment. Who knows, maybe Tommy will help her pay for that. So I guess the moral of the story is that girls' nights is a very bad idea. I look forward to hearing your feedback of the situation, Frank. Well, yes, girls' night is a bad idea. But you know what also is a bad idea? Marrying a gal like that. There's no way she didn't show elements of her true colors before he got together. I have a hard time believing that. But even if she was a master at this stuff, Once you got married, and she obviously has been treating you like this for a while, you shouldn't have stayed married to her. Why the fuck did you stay with her? But I'm going to guess that she was probably one of the first, if not the first, probably what you saw as a really good-looking catch to pay attention to. And you thought, finally, just like the movie said, I would finally get the girl. Wrong. You got a freaking harpy. You got a nightmare that was using you. And this is the point I was making in the whole beginning. Guys, there are plenty of women out there that will use men. They will marry them. They don't love them. They don't care about them to what they get to benefit from that. They don't all do that. Let me make that clear, but a lot do. Clearly, this is the case. And if you act like a bitch, they're going to treat you like a bitch. And brother, based on your description here, and I'm sure you were trying to make it look better than what it was, you were acting like a bitch. But the good thing is, I'm glad you put the surveillance equipment down in the basement and heard what they had to say. You got proof of that, not for court, but for, well, actually, that might actually help you in court depending where you live, but also for those that, when she makes her bullshit story, you got evidence of her cheating, and also you stormed out of there with your shit and you went to the divorce attorney's office. That's good. So that's progress. I'm proud of you there. Now what you need to do is get through this freaking divorce and not back down. When she realizes that she can't scare you or whatever, she may try different tactics like crying her eyes out, putting on the water, whatever. All these different tricks to get you to not divorce her. Don't fall for it. Listen to your lawyer. Try to get through this as quickly and painlessly as possible. You said you have a prenup and it was her idea, and the house, I guess, was yours before that. Great. I still hope that it doesn't get fucked up. But I do hope that when you left, you also made sure you stopped by your office or something in the house and got important paperwork, like tax returns, financial statements, maybe a birth certificate, social security card, unless you have in a safe deposit box, important heirlooms or belongings that she can't get her hands on, because I wouldn't put it past her to all of a sudden open a whole bunch of credit cards with your social security number, marital property, and rack them all up that you got to deal with it. Or drain your accounts. I hope you've taken at least what will be considered by a lawyer a fair share of your money in a joint accounts. I know you have joint accounts, amongst many other things. And if she's going to stay in your house, that clearly was your house before the marriage, and it's clear as day you're going to get it, I hope she doesn't punch a bunch of holes in the freaking walls, or flush concrete down the toilet on her way out, or go to the get herself a bunch of ants and pests and stuff and put it in the basement, termites in the basement. I can go on and on about the way she can sabotage the house. You better be very careful here, bro. But get through this divorce, listen to your lawyer, and my God, dude, you need to work on yourself. Either through self-reflection or a good therapist. Dig down as to why you married a girl like this. Why you stayed with a girl like this. Why you let her walk all over you. I mean, I don't have a lot of information here. Like, I have none. About your background, your family life growing up, male role models, no male role models. I can't imagine having a good male role model behaving like this. So that you don't let this happen again. Because if you're 34 years old and you obviously make probably decent money, this will happen again if you don't learn to correct the mistakes you made. You've been watching me, you said. That's good, and I'm glad it gave you the courage to get out of there. But you've got a lot to learn, brother. I know it was harsh, but you needed it. I'm not going to do you any favors if I'm just there-thering you, okay? And I got no problem if you're hurt to the point of tears, of being betrayed and all that. Sure, that hurts. Many guys have been there through the betrayal. Just don't ever let her see you cry. And clearly, for what she said to you, many a time she's seen you cry. It disgusts women. That crap they say they want a guy that can cry and pour out his insecurities and emotions and make her... No, never do that. And a lot of them will say they want that until he does it. And they're like, ugh. They want you to be the man. They don't want to be the man. So, man. So, good job on that part, but you got a lot of work to do. I'm glad you stormed out of there. I'm glad all that. And yeah, girls' night is bad. Naturally. But you know what's even worse? When a man acts like a mangina and allows this stuff to happen. I guarantee you Tommy and other guys that she cheat on you with would never let her allow the crap that she pulled with them that she pulled with you. They wouldn't tolerate it, and she's attracted to them. So, man, you got work to work on yourself, but believe me, there have been guys that have screwed up worse, that have turned their lives around and got their shit together, but it takes oftentimes hitting rock bottom for guys to finally wake up and say, I'm never going to behave like that again. Ever. If I have to spend the rest of my life learning this type of material and working on myself, I will never be that spineless doormat ever again. And I hope you reach that point you can do that. And also, I want to point out, there are things that a man can't has no control over. You have no control over your height. If God made you 5'2", I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, okay, there's surgeries where you can have your legs broken and they put fucking steel rods in your legs to make you taller. I wouldn't recommend that. You can't control the size of your you-know-what. Balding is different. That's a big issue. I mean, you could do, Rogaine and those other things like that, but still, that's challenging. But what you can do is change yourself from the inside and become a new man and harden yourself. That's something you have control over. You have control over fixing your body, your appearance in terms of getting your body into shape. You don't need to look like a pro bodybuilder, but you can get yourself to be fit. Is it going to happen overnight if you're overweight with a big gut? No, but it'll take time. But if you do the right things, exercise, get a trainer to help you, understand it's going to take some time, and are consistent with your training, eat healthy, registered dietitian if it's that bad, put you in the right path, you will get there. And present yourself well, dress well and all that, that will help you in your situation. But if you just let yourself go and you look like a slob and all those things, that's not going to help your case. So I want you to work on yourself on the inside and the outside. And hopefully this never happens again. So, I know guys, it was tough to get through, but I have to share these every once in a while to make the point. And of course, remember guys, be careful. They will go after guys they don't love just to benefit from them. I guarantee you she's going to leave you eventually once she milked you long enough. So there you go. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.